Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on our Live Antics project, colour combination chosen by the lovely Lorraine during one of our live antics on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Now we have lives on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. What we usually do is we pop names of everyone that are on the live at that moment inside a hat. We pick one out and then that particular person gets to choose the colour combination, and the lovely Lorraine was the lucky lady to choose this colour from Bendigo Woolen Mills. It is called the Prism range and the actual colour is called Mystic. All right, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but for now, just to let you know, this is part one only of our mystery project. Let's call it a top. That's code for this is going to be a top, all right? So join us today in creating this gorgeous mystery top colour combination chosen by the lovely Lorraine. Now this is an Australian yarn here, stockist by a Victorian stockist. Company's name is Bendigo Woolen Mills. The yarn is the Prism range and the name is called Mystic. It is an 8-ply or a DK weight or a 3 weight overseas. So if you want to make this top with us using this particular yarn, then note that it is a 3 weight. If you want to use any other weight, you have to work out your measurements on your own, but they're not that difficult, okay? In fact, you could use your own size yarn if you like and work it around there, and I'll explain throughout the tutorial, okay? This is a 400 meter skein. I have 2 skeins, so I have altogether 800 meters. That should suffice for the size that we want our top. Now, the only time we will use real size measurements is when we are talking about the length you have here, and even then you don't have to use size, okay? And I'll talk about that in a minute. So really the only time we need sizing would be the width of your top there. For today, you will need, if you're the size that I'm making, which we'll talk about in a minute, about 139 grams or 3/4 of your skein, or nearly almost 3/4 of the skein, yeah? All right, but not exactly. It depends on the size that you are, all right? We're going to talk about sizes in a minute. Now, you will also need between 10 to 14, maybe 16 stitch markers, again, according to your size, but the only reason we use them is to count the 10th, every 10th row, only because it's easier at the end of the piece when you get the right measurement to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 and whatever yours makes. Mine makes 98, I think, or something like that. I'm not really sure. To be fair, I haven't counted it. Now, the reason I haven't counted it is because, let's bring that out a bit more. I measured it on myself when I got to a certain length. And every time I got to that length, I thought, okay, it's 3/4 of the way through. I need another quarter. I just used my hands. I said that's like 10, 20, roughly around 18 rows, because it doesn't exactly make the 10. So it just gave me an idea to do another 18 rows. Then, once I did it, I got to the end and realized, wow, this is way too big for me. So I took off 5, 10, I can't even remember how many rows. I just wound them up and you can see it there. Yeah, I took off the rows because I want mine to be a little bit tight fitting. Now, you don't have to have yours tight fitting, you have the choice, and I will show you the choice throughout this tutorial. Yeah, you will need your hook, and the hook that it does call for, let me get a close up for you, it calls for a 4mm hook right there. But today I'm using a 5 because I want to give it a little bit of a stretch. Now, it's not necessary, you can use the 4 if you like, but I'm using the 5, all right? If you use a 4, you're going to need more rows, which means you're going to need more yarn. It's like a catch-22, yeah? You will need 2 stitch markers for the beginning and the end of each row so that you can find the start and the ends. And if you are new to crochet, use some stitch markers. If you don't have them, use a piece of thread, use a paper clip, use a safety pin, a hairpin, whatever you have to mark your piece, all right? Don't think, oh, I haven't got it, so bad luck, I can't do it. Don't think that anything you want to mark your piece is really important. You will in the future need scissors and a sewing needle. I've got my sewing needles attached to this so you can see them, plenty of stitch markers, but you won't need it today. You will need your stitch markers today, but you won't really need your scissors today unless of course you have smaller skeins than mine. Mine is actually a 200-gram skein. The other skein, I have not once cut the thread. I have no tails. I'm lying. I have one tail at the beginning, which is right there. Yeah, one tiny tail at the beginning because this skein is a really big skein and stores a lot of yarn with no knots at the moment. So fingers crossed there's no knots, but I don't think there will be. All right, so let's get started. Yeah, we're going to start by grabbing our hook and opening up our thread here like so. Oh, that was lucky. Usually I get a big bunch out, but that was very lucky. All right, so what we're going to do now, let's bring this up a little bit. Okay, all we're going to do is make a slip knot. Grab the tail end of your yarn. You can leave a nice long tail like me for weaving in ends. Wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Pass your back loop halfway over. Hold it there. Pass the other loop all the way over. Pop your hook in that loop and you have made your slip knot. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to chain the amount of chains for our size. So make sure you have measured your chest measurement. Have a look up on the screen right there and you have your sizes and the amount of chains you need to chain for your size. What is a chain, I hear you ask? We will do that in just a moment, but what you will need for your size: extra small to small, 28 chains, medium to large, 30, extra large to 2 extra large, 34, and 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you need 38 chains. And what you are chaining is this piece right here, just the width of your cup size, if you will. Now don't stress if it's a little smaller than you like, add a few extra chains. If it's too wide and you want yours smaller, then take a few chains off. Entirely up to you, but we're going to do the chains now. And a chain is yarn over our hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so your job now would be to chain the amount of chains that you need, and there they are on the screen. We've done 8. I'm going to be doing extra small and small just for this part of the tutorial. So I've done 8. I'm going to pop the rest on silent and off we go. 9, and 28 for extra small to small. Now again, if you are a different size, they're the chains that you need for your size. Once again, make sure you have that amount. All right, now if you accidentally have one less or one more, it doesn't matter. Okay, don't stress too much. Don't do 20 rows and realize you've made that mistake. You can get away with one less or one more. I have given a little bit of leeway either way. All right, so now what we're going to do is double crochet US, trebles UK, and we're going to start in the 4th chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, 3, and in that 4th chain you've got your yarn over your hook. In that 4th chain you are popping your double crochet. So pop it in that top loop, pull a loop through like so, and you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. That is a double crochet US, treble UK. Now what I want to do is just place a stitch marker in that first stitch. Now the first stitch will be, let's move that for now, right there, that's the stitch that we just created. All right, right next to it when we did our chains, there is a top chain. It's a bit hard to see with the blue. Top 2 loops of the very chain before your stitch. All right, so there's your stitch. You can see the little V looking thing, and then the chain just before it. Pop your stitch marker in that chain right there. Again, you can use a piece of thread or anything you have in stock. Now yarn over your hook. You're going to place a double crochet into each stitch across. Now you are already in, let's do it properly so I don't have to keep bringing the hands up all the time. You're already in that stitch there, okay? You want to pop a double crochet into that next stitch, so yarn over your hook right into the very next stitch. Make sure you don't go into that one, yeah? So just go straight into the very next stitch, pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And that's pretty much all you need to do across the row. It is a super easy stitch. This is the very first stitch that I learnt doing crochet. I didn't learn single crochets or half doubles. I learnt this double crochet US treble UK. Doesn't matter, you can learn any one you want first, whatever you find super easy first. I find this stitch very easy for me, yeah? All right, so that's pretty much it. Your double crochets go into every stitch all the way across. So what I'm going to do is pop this on fast for you so you can see me doing it, and if you want to slow your video down, you can slow it down. So what I want everyone to do is double crochet into every stitch until you get to the last 2 stitches or the last stitch, and I'll meet you there in just a moment, and off we go. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of this piece, and right here you can see 2 stitches left. So yarn over our hook into the second last stitch like so, and then into that very last stitch, and you can tell because it kind of has that little gap, and if you give it a tug you can see the little space where the chain is. Alright, so pop your hook in, complete your side, and what you have is that. So that's it. Now you pop your hook in your loop, and we're going to turn our work. No chaining, we're going to turn our work. So you can either turn your work that way or turn your work the other way. Now I just do this. I just go flip, like I'm flipping the page in a book. Now we're going to do what we call a standing double crochet at the beginning of every round. And there are many ways to do this, but this is the way I'm going to use. You hold that thread, you pop your hook in the same stitch you are in with 2 loops on top and your post on the bottom, and I'll explain that in a minute. So you're pulling a loop through like so, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's the start of your stitch. Now what you have is a loop there and a loop on the side, and what you want to do is pop your hook in that side loop, or base loop if you will, side base loop, yeah? Pop your loop over your hook, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. That is your standing double crochet. You need to grab your stitch marker and pop it in the top 2 loops of that stitch there. All right, like so. And that is similar size to the double crochet. What that will do, that will stop a gap that you see like that in between the first and second stitch, and also keep your edges straight as well. But for now we're going to go straight back into doing double crochets, and you're doing, let me talk about that stitch again, you're doing your double crochets always in that stitch with the top 2 loops on top, and the post is that tall thing that you see there. All right, so when I said before, keep your hook in the stitch and your post underneath it. So that's what you're doing. Yarn over your hook, you're going into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and off you go, doing just that into every stitch across your piece. Very exciting, yeah? And I'll show you what it should look like that. This is the basic stitch in double crochet, one of the first stitches that you will probably use or learn when you are starting crochet. All right, I went quiet there, sorry guys. What I'm going to do now is pop this on fast. You need to pop a double crochet into every stitch, get to your second last stitch, and I'll get to that at the end of this row, and I'll meet you there in a moment, and off we go. All right, I'm on my second last stitch right there. I've just completed that stitch. I'll get a nice close-up for you so you can see it now. And that's my second last stitch, which is just before the stitch marker that we placed. Remember, we placed a stitch marker in that top chain. So yarn over your hook and into the stitch with your stitch marker, making your very last double crochet. Now remove that last stitch marker. Easy, yeah? And you want to hear how easy this is. And the easy part is that row that you just did, you are repeating that row over and over and over and over again. All right, so I'm going to start you off, and then we're going to talk about how many rows that you need to do. All right, so flip your work and do that standing double crochet that we did before. So that's popping your hook in the first stitch, making sure you're holding that loop, yeah? Pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through. Now pop your hook into the side or base loop, if you want to call it that, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, popping your stitch marker in the top 2 loops of your standing double crochet. And then you are doing a double crochet in the next stitch. Now if you're not sure, just give your work a tug and you can see the little gaps, not the big gaps, the very little one. That's where you need to pop your double crochets in, and off you go, completing your row. But we're not going to complete it. We're going to give you some instructions, and you're going to head off on your own and complete your rows for your size. All right, so how many rows do we need to do? I hear you ask. All right, this is where it becomes easy for you. If you're creating it for yourself, grab your piece, right, and keep crocheting your rows until, now this is entirely up to you, until this fits right around your whole chest, until it is your chest measurement. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the amount of rows roughly, just these are rough amounts, and then you're going to measure them to your chest. The reason is because look how stretchy this is. If you want yours to be tighter, then you will do less amount of rows. If you want yours to be loose, a little bit more loose, do more rows, okay? So really all I want you to do is keep doing the rows until it gets right around your chest. So what we're going to do is in a few minutes we're going to head off to the mannequin and check how I have made my rows to suit me, and off we go. Alrighty guys, so naughty me, forgot to press record earlier when I recorded joining it, so I'm just going to have to show you another way. I've already gone further into the tutorial, but don't stress too much, I will be able to show you anyways. Alright, so grab your piece and pop it around your chest like that. Just ignore all the stitch markers, it doesn't concern you in this part here. So all you're going to do, that part right there on the underarm, that is literally under your arm, alright? And it literally is covering your chest area. So we'll turn her around this way, because the other way's too tight. Now let's just pretend these, ignore these. This is the next step which I messed up the recording, so just ignore them for now. Just grab both your pieces and bring them together. Now what you need to do, you can decide for yourself, do you want yours to be tight or do you want yours a little loose? I find loose is a bit awkward. So once you've worked exactly how close you want yours to go, just take the rows undone if it's too big, or add a few more rows if you're really, really tight and you want yours wider, then add a few more rows, whichever that may be. So once you get the amount of rows that you want to suit your particular size, whatever size that may be, then join me over at the workstation and we will join our piece together. Alrighty guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. Don't forget to continue your rows over and over and over and over and over again until you get to your measurement that you need. Now your measurement that you need, and I showed you on the mannequin even though the first footage didn't work, that you can have your top as tight as you want or as loose as you want. Okay, so continue in that manner, making sure you are popping your stitch markers on every 10th stitch so it's easier for you to count your rows. I'm sorry, on every 10th row so it's easier for you to count at the end. And that's about it, guys. A very special thank you to the lovely Lorraine for her colour combination. Don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. And also don't forget to like, subscribe and share, especially when you click subscribe. Click that all button so that you can receive all of our notifications for all the tutorials coming, because we have so many gorgeous projects coming in the future. In the meantime, we will be continuing part 2 this time next week. Join us then. My name is Mary. This is Wow Crochet Designs, and ciao for now.